How is it going, everyone? We are just a week away from the release of one of the most anticipated games of the year, and that is the latest entry in the Mafia franchise, Mafia: The Old Country. A lot of reason to be excited about the game. One of the big reasons is, yes, it is coming at you at a $50 price tag. Look, in the era of consoles going up in price, games moving to $80 whenever we see a $50 game. On top of that, a $50 game of a storied franchise. Really, it is the first of its kind, given that Expedition 33 was a brand new IP, Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remaster was a remaster, Mafia: The Old Country is the latest mainline entry in a Mafia franchise, a storied franchise, and it's coming at you at a $50 price point. It is a prequel to Mafia 1, so you'll be able to jump right into this game. Some interesting story elements to it for sure, but in this video, I want to highlight some of the key information that you should know about the game before you spend your $50 on it. But if you are playing the game on PC and Steam and you want to get the game a little bit cheaper, check out our friends over at Green Man Gaming. They've got Mafia: The Old Country listed for $49.99 as well. Use the code AUG15 for August 15 and you will get Mafia: The Old Country 15% off. So typically it's $50. At GMG you'll pay $42.50. You'll get a Steam key for the game and you won't pay tax. You're saving a ton of money there, so get your key from GMG. Link in the description box below, and if you buy it over there, we do get an affiliate kickback, which is much appreciated. You can get the deluxe edition as well, and we'll go over the contents of that at the end of this video. On top of that, we'll go over the full system requirements, the performance settings on consoles, and everything like that. So stay on lock for all of the information. A general background of the game as listed on the official page. Again, this will be a prequel to the very first Mafia game, kicking off a new story arc. Uncover the origins of organized crime in Mafia: The Old Country, a gritty mob story set in the brutal underworld of 1900 Sicily. Fight to survive as Enzo Favara and prove your worth to the family in this immersive third-person action-adventure title. The game is set during a dangerous, unforgiving era, and Enzo will do anything for a better life. He comes from a brutal childhood of forced labor. He is risking everything to become a man of honor in the crime family. His ode to the Mafia, with all the power, temptation, and hardship it entails, is a burning reminder of this simple truth: family takes a sacrifice. If you're familiar with Mafia, you know that you can expect a more gritty, mature narrative, and with Mafia: The Old Country, a big reason it's a $50 game is don't expect something that is going to be 40 to 50 hours long. That's not what this game is going for, and if you're worried about the actual content of the game, it's going to be at the level, and this is what they said, if you played Mafia 1 and 2, it's going to be very reminiscent of that, and I think most people would agree that Mafia 1 and 2 were the high points of the franchise, and mind you, Mafia 2 came out 15 years ago, and it was priced at $60 15 years ago. 15 years later, we're getting the latest entry in the Mafia franchise, and it's $10 cheaper. I think from that vantage point, you should be pretty happy about that, where you have other games going up to 70, 80 bucks. This is the latest entry in a major franchise, and it's $50. Again, I gotta give a lot of credit to that. This thrilling narrative is brought to life by stunning visuals, cinematic storytelling, and the authentic realism that the critically acclaimed Mafia series is known for. Enzo's story unfolds in a time when skill with a stiletto blade was a deadly asset. A sawed-off shotgun was a go-to firearm. Murderous vendettas raged for decades, and mafioso patrolled their protection rackets on foot, horseback, or behind the wheel of turn-of-the-century motor cars. You'll uncover a merciless world of organized crime. The rough beauty of Sicily's rugged countryside is a stark contrast to the grime of urban alleyways, but the treachery and violence of this gangland run just as deep. Rival families and their ruthless leaders wage unending turf wars in the shadows, hidden from the public eye. Trust is a fleeting rarity, and loyalties are worth killing for. It's describing to be playing a classic mob movie. You're the anti-hero of this thrilling 1900s story, living out every tense moment of Enzo's descent into Sicily's clandestine criminal underworld. Come face to face with a cast of unpredictable allies and cutthroat enemies in this classic crime drama, rich in period authentic details that'll immerse you in this treacherous Mediterranean setting. Fight to survive, engage in life or death combat, be it up close with a blade or from afar with a variety of firearms. Ambush enemies for vicious stealth takedowns or slice them up in close quarters duels. If you prefer firearms, wield period authentic handguns, rifles, and shotguns to overcome any odds and dodgily eliminate the Don's enemies. And travel travel in authentic style, traverse a wide range of Sicilian environments from underground crypts and crumbling ruins to bountiful vineyards and ornate opera houses. To reach your next target or make a hurried getaway, you'll need to gallop on horseback across cobbled streets and open fields or speed down dirt roads in authentic turn-of-the-century automobiles as well. I should also note the game does have a mature content disclosure. This game may contain content not appropriated for all ages, and it's going to be a little bit on the mature side. Look, if you played Mafia games on the past, none of that should come as too big of a surprise to you whatsoever. Remember that Mafia the Old Country is moving away from Mafia 3's more open approach, and it is going to be a more contained approach, and that linear storytelling is what they're going for. I think based on the general reception to Mafia 1 and 2 versus Mafia 3, not to say that Mafia 3 is a bad game. A lot of people really enjoyed Mafia 3, and I still think it had a lot of high points. I just think when it comes to Mafia, it doesn't need to go into that direction. Know what makes Mafia Mafia, and I feel like they've really realized that with Mafia the Old Country, while moving the franchise forward in a lot of areas, also harkening back to what makes this franchise so engaging. And it's gonna be something I think a lot of you guys are gonna be able to sink your teeth into. As far as gameplay is concerned, IGN had an in-depth interview with the developers, and it was noted this: Mafia's got these, we call it a roller coaster experience. Sometimes you play a choreographed shootout, sometimes it's a car chase, sometimes it's a stealth section, sometimes you get to choose, and stealth has been a kind of a big part of the play your way kind of style for Mafia since Mafia 2. It was in Mafia 2 a little bit. Mafia 3 became pretty much play your way all the way through. For Mafia the Old Country, it was always going to be a part of the formula. The thing that I think most pertinent to this game is because we wanted to make combat generally feel more dangerous. We wanted to bring in a more grounded kind of feeling to any kind of encounter with enemies. We wanted to make sure that stealth really captured that vibe of surviving in a dangerous environment, so that's a heightened value to sneaking around and taking out a guard. And also that vibe of, well, Enzo is trying to survive in 1900 Sicily. It's kind of a resource-poor environment. You're having to loot and scrabble around for resources in combat, for example, again, favoring a more deliberate gameplay style if you're going to stealth around and kind of take out a few enemies. And there's a lot of specifics of Mafia the Old Country you should be aware about when it comes to gameplay. You will have a variety of difficulty options, so if you want something that is super tailored on the story and won't provide much of a challenge, there will be 3 difficulty options: easy, a less challenging experience for players new to action games. Your weapons deal more damage, enemies are less accurate, you gain more resources from looting and pickup. So again, while resource management is a component of the game, if you play on easy, it'll be a lot more tailored to you. And vehicles take less damage from collisions. You've got medium, a balanced experience for players who want a fair fight, probably the direction most of you guys are gonna go with. Your weapons deal standard damage, enemies have normal accuracy, and vehicles take moderate damage from collisions. And then for those of you that want a challenge, you do have the hard difficulty, a tougher experience for players looking to test their skills. Your weapons deal less damage, enemies hit harder with higher accuracy, you gain fewer resources from looting and pickups, vehicles take realistic damage from collisions as well. A couple of other aspects: they posted a significant Q&A that gave us a lot of insight on various specifics about the game. As far as playing the game offline on PC, you'll need to be connected to the internet the first time you launch the game, but in most instances beyond that, the Mafia Old Country experience is entirely playable offline. 2 exceptions to this are if you significantly change your PC hardware between play sessions, an online connection may be required the next time you launch a game, and after downloading game updates, an online connection will be required upon the next launch. Not a big fan of that. For a total single-player game like this, requiring any type of online connectivity isn't ideal. But it is what it is. And they also spoke about the design as far as the gameplay of the game from an open-ended approach versus linear. Can you freely explore the map in Mafia the Old Country? While Mafia the Old Country is a linear and narrative-driven experience, some missions will offer you the freedom to take your own route toward objectives. In other worlds, similar to Mafia 1 and 2, you'll be given opportunities to freely roam through a detailed and lived-in world. I've seen some people sometimes describe Mafia 1 and 2 as an open world. Let's be honest, those games are not open world. Do they have some sections that are a little bit more open, where you can go drive around, where you can go explore a little bit? Sure, but it's a far cry from what's generally perceived to be an open world, and I've always thought that worked for Mafia. A lot of games are going into that open world direction. Mafia doesn't need to do that. Mafia is one of those franchises, when you talk about open world versus not open world, it's very good when an open world complements the experience, and I thought the open world in Mafia 3 took away from the experience, and it was almost like Mafia was trying to fit into this open world rather than the open world working for what Mafia is. That's why, going back to this style, total on board with that, and honestly, the biggest aspect of this game that makes me excited for it. The game will also include an explore option at launch, meaning that once you've completed the prologue, you'll be able to find collectibles, spend your in-game currency on new items, and take your vehicles and horses for rides around the environment. We have plans to expand this feature via a free post-launch update, more information about which will be revealed at a later date. So that'll offer a little bit of replayability, a little bit of a reason to go back into the game, so we'll see how that turns out. As far as collectibles in Mafia the Old Country, throughout the game you may find collectibles that give you insight into the world of Mafia the Old Country, such as notes, newspaper, and Saints' cards, as well as opportunities to take photographs. Others may offer rewards that can be in exchange for denarii or charms, which can be equipped for Enzo's rosary to grant bonus perks and abilities, and keep an eye out for a mysterious type of hidden collectible, so a little bit of a secret there. There is no photo mode in Mafia the Old Country, at least not at launch. Mafia the Old Country will not have a dedicated photo mode at launch. However, there are specific moments in the narrative during which Enzo is encouraged to take photographs with an antique camera, often to capture shots of scenic Sicilian vistas, and that contribute to the guided collectible system mentioned above. How do knives work in the game? Again, this is a big part about the game. There are 3 different classes of knives in Mafia the Old Country. You've got the Scanaturi. These knives have lower durability but can be thrown. The Rasulu, these knives allow for one-hit kills during active combat. And the Stiletto, these knives have the highest durability. In addition to the above distinctions, some knives come with special perks like healing Enzo after a takedown. You'll unlock new knives with different perks as you progress through the story, and knives can be purchased from 2 NPCs, Pascal or Valerio, then equipped at their shops or at weapon boxes. Only one knife can be carried at a time, and all knives have limited durability that's consumed by special actions like lockpicking, quick stealth kills, knife throw kills with Scanaturi knives, or one-hit kills with Rasulu knives. The durability of your equipped knife can be restored using whetstones, which can be found around the world. Regardless of durability, your knife is always available as your basic melee attack. It's a great option when an enemy gets too close, or if you're trying to preserve ammo. The basic melee attack isn't quite as stealthy or as silent of a takedown, but it's lethal nonetheless. As for knives unlocked via DLC, players can equip DLC knives starting at Chapter 2. After meeting Pasquale, these come with special perks and advanced attributes compared to other knives within the same class. That DLC is baked into the deluxe edition of the game, which again we'll go over at the end. It's stealth optional in Mafia the Old Country. For most of the game, stealth is entirely optional and just as tactically viable as charging into enemy encounters gun blazing. However, occasionally there will be gameplay sections that require Enzo to remain in stealth for narrative reasons. How does the in-game currency work in Mafia the Old Country? Let me just say right off the bat, there is no in-game microtransactions. Relax, relax. For a game like this, you would be up in arms, and rightfully so. The in-game currency that Enzo can acquire strictly through gameplay and spend on in-game items is called denarii. It can be used to purchase guns, knives, outfits, cars, and horses, as well as alternate styles for some of those items. Denarii can be looted from enemies, gained from opening loot boxes, and earned in other ways throughout the story. There are no microtransactions in Mafia the Old Country, and you cannot acquire denarii with real-world money. For the vehicles in Mafia the Old Country vary across a number of categories. Each has a listed weight, top speed, and transmission type, as well as stats for acceleration, braking, and grip, each measured on a 5-point scale. Vehicles are unlocked by making progress in the story, purchasing them with denarii at a garage via downloadable content packs, or signing into or linking your 2K account. Additional styles for vehicles can be purchased with denarii from Pasquale's store in-game. Horses are a big part of the game, and they are customizable as well. Yes, similar to cars, players can purchase and ride horses as well as change their tack in stables. Some horses and tack will be unlocked through gameplay as the story progresses, and more of each will be available for purchase with denarii throughout the game too. Also, like cars, horses will have different stats such as endurance or the number of times they can be spurred for a speed boost on top of that. Also, like cars, horses will have different stats that'll be available on top of that. So that is all off of the latest Q&A. Also, the narrative is a big aspect of the game, and how you decide to immerse yourself in the narrative can be varied. You can experience Mafia the Old Country in fully dubbed Sicilian, bringing the crime family story to life with the language of the region. So if you want more of an immersion, if you want it subbed with Sicilian dub, that option is available. The Mafia community spans the globe, and we strive to deliver top quality language support. In addition to Sicilian, Mafia the Old Country has full audio support for English, German, French, Spanish, Czech and Russian, and features text localization in Italian, Polish, Ukrainian, Latin American, Spanish, Brazilian, Portuguese, traditional and simplified Chinese, Japanese, and Korean. Players can mix and match Sicilian dubbing with the subtitle language of their choice as well. Finally, I do want to highlight the key points as far as performance is concerned. If you're looking to play the game on PC, we've got 3 different tiers of system requirements. Minimum requirements, you're looking at an AMD Ryzen 7 2700X, Intel Core i7 9700K, 16 gigs of RAM, a Radeon RX 5700 XT, or an NVIDIA RTX 2070, 8 gigabytes of video memory required as well. Render resolution, that would be for the medium preset, 1920 by 1080p. Recommended, you're looking at a Ryzen 7 5800X and an Intel Core i7 12700K, 32 gigs of RAM, an AMD Radeon RX 6950 XT, or an RTX 3080 Ti, 12 gigabytes of video memory on that end, and that's for the high preset at 1440p, and quality as far as upscaling is concerned. For minimum, it's a balanced preset. So I like how they do identify what kind of AI upscaling that they're using as far as that's concerned. Ideally, you would want the requirements to be there without the upscaling, but I digress. Seems to be more of a common practice in PC gaming. And requirements, epic preset requirements, Ryzen 7 9700X, Intel Core i7 14700K, 32 gigs of RAM, RX 9070, and an RTX 4070 Ti, 12 gigabytes of video memory, and that is for the 4K epic preset, 2880 by 1620 at 75%, and quality for the upscaling as well. So there you go with all of that. 55 gigabytes for your storage install size, which is honestly not that crazy. Also, as far as PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, Mafia the Old Country will have both quality and performance modes at launch, with the game running at an average 60 frames per second in performance mode, average, so it could see dips. Keep that in mind. Players who want to prioritize higher resolution and visual fidelity should select quality mode, while players who prefer to prioritize frame rate should select performance mode. And one final thing, the base game again will be released at $49.99, while the deluxe edition is $59.99. The standard edition will get you the base game and the Soldado pack, which is a pre-purchase bonus, and the deluxe edition will get you the Padrino pack, the Gato Nero pack, and the digital art book and original soundtrack. That is some in-game items. The Padrino pack will get you a shotgun, pistol, a charm, the Padrino outfit, the Stiletto Speciale knife, the Eckhart Speciale limousine, and the Cosmo horse and accessories. The Gato Nero pack will get you Badeo Nero pistol, the Velociraptor charm, and the Gato Nero outfit, and the Cortezella Nero race car as well. Bonus materials include digital art book and the original score. All of that for $59.99. And I got one more thing. There are a plethora of accessibility options for those of you looking to tailor the experience. We went over the adjustable difficulty, easy, normal, hard, but there's also adjustable text size, subtitle options, color alternatives, camera comfort, custom volume control, stereo sound, surround sound, and playable without timed inputs if you do want to turn that off. That is all the information I have for you guys on Mafia the Old Country. I am super excited for the game. Look, we get a lot of open world RPGs that are 50 to 70 hours. Sometimes you need a gritty narrative experience that is a bit more focused, and I think Mafia the Old Country is going to offer exactly that. And you know I love to see that $50 price tag. So that's going to do it for me. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.